And we're live.
Yes, we are. Good evening, Ericka.
Hello, Robert.
Don't you really wish when we came on for one of our radio shows and podcasts that there would be something interesting going on in the country or the world? There's just never anything interesting to talk about.
Definitely never anything interesting. Definitely never any crazy, wild nonsense happening.
So I want to start with your home state, your alma mater state, as if there is such a term,
Oh,
of Vermont.
no.
So
Yeah.
this whole thing that there are 22 genders, and I self-identify as a Minotaur, and they want to get rid of they now have these pronoun things, right? He, she,
Yeah,
her,
yeah.
is, them, us.
Yeah.
Which my pronouns, ladies and gentlemen, are very simple:
Oh,
me, myself, and I. Those
yeah.
are my pronouns.
Yeah.
But
Oh, by the
Vermont's
way,
right.
sorry, just really quick. I tried to buy an airplane ticket, or I did buy an airplane ticket this week, and I had the option to choose not to specify what my gender was. So I cannot wait to hear what nonsense my home state of Vermont is doing. Tell me.
Well, the home state of Vermont is now taking this one step further. If you want to think they're attacking the family, is you should not refer to your children as either your son or your daughter. You should either refer to them as child or kid. Like, hey, kid, come over here. Hey, that's my kid.
You.
That's my kid.
Yous.
Right? I mean,
Wow.
So, I mean, now, under
Yeah,
gender
why
equality.
Why you a bigot?
Well, hang on.
Them gender.
This is the Vermont Department of Health says that they should forego the term son or daughter. And they said equity in the classroom is an essential piece of a productive and healthy learning environment. So someone needs to explain to me, first of all, this whole equity thing as opposed to equality of opportunity. But, because there's this whole glossary of crap that the state of Vermont is throwing at people. So now you cannot refer to your child as your son or your daughter. That's my son.
Yeah.
Or that's my daughter.
Don't be a bigot.
I have one of each.
Yeah.
Because you are, what's the term? You are extolling your white supremacy or whatever the crap is that they. Wait, no, it's in here. No. Wait.
Wait.
The Vermont.
How is that? What does that have to do with? Oh Lord.
Excuse me.
No.
The Vermont Department of Health says to stop using the term sons and daughter in order to be more inclusive. Quote, the erosion of the meaning of the words and the dismantling of the family as the building block of society is what these guys are doing. This is, by the way, the one of the guys, the TikTok guys that are doing that. But wait a minute, there's a line here that I read it and I went, you got to be kidding. You guys, by the way, don't have to watch the news. We'll tell you the news that's important. But here you go. The glossary of terms defines gender as social, psychological, and or emotional traits.
Comes with a glossary?
No. This is your state of Vermont. This is their definition. They have something called a health equity glossary. By the way, since you're from Vermont, can you get me a copy of the health equity glossary? I want the Vermont edition because it basically defines gender as, quote, social, psychological, and or emotional traits often influenced by societal expectations that classify someone as man, woman, a mixture of both or neither. And it is a social construct. And it internalizes racism and a set of beliefs, prejudices, and ideas that individuals have about, here you go, superiority of whites and the inferiority of other colors.
Okay, so we somehow went all the way around about gender to race. Okay, have they been taking talking points from Kamala Harris, whichever one isn't racist? Because that sounded like a Kamala Harris hex, a Harris hex. I feel like you just did some voodoo word salad on me. We're gonna go through it later. You guys tell us. Comment below. Does it
comment below? So what do you guys think of the I want our listeners, I want a question on what do you think of Vermont's health equity glossary?
Okay,
and with that, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, and that's what here's what Bernie Sanders, the commie, has been in office in Vermont for how many years? Like 40 years. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how long it takes to destroy a state. There you go. Ladies.
Touché.
Let's
roll them. Hello and welcome to Of the People, a very somber edition with the murder of 6 hostages, one of them American. And frankly, folks, it doesn't matter whether there was an American amongst them. It matters that 6 hostages were brutally murdered by Hamas, and they were murdered on the verge of being rescued. And Hamas clearly made a calculation that we are going to deny these families their loved ones because human life means nothing to us. We at Of the People and Israel Appreciation Day have put out the following statement that I want on the record. We've put it out on the numerous press releases and social media, but my statement, and this statement is as follows, is once again, we see the evil and barbarism that is Hamas. They will never be a partner in any long-lasting and meaningful peace because all human life, both Israelis and Palestinians, are nothing more than expendable assets in the greater warfare to exterminate Israel and all the Jews. It's just that simple. The killing of hostages should make the point crystal clear to the world and those who would criticize Israel for trying to defend herself against extermination and to try to bring the hostages home. This drives home, ladies and gentlemen, the point very, very simple that weakness breeds aggression, right? This, on some level, we all learned that lesson in the schoolyard. If you do not stand up to the bully, it only encourages the bully to be more aggressive. That applies to Hamas, that applies to Iran. What I find incredulous in all of this is now we have people in this country who are blaming Israel for the death of the hostages because they didn't do enough to bring about a peace deal. Someone needs to explain to me what peace deal was on the table that Israel didn't accept. Except, of course, if you wanted Israel to just totally capitulate, allow Hamas to reconstitute, only to attack them in a war of extermination yet again. And we're going to cover this, but from Randy Weingarten to several other people, who's the American Federation of Teachers president, the Hopping Hobbit, as I call her, it is an infamia. It is incorrigible to me that anyone is blaming Israel for the death of these hostages. Weakness breeds aggression. It comes down to a very simple fact. We have said it again, and I'll say it again. If Hamas lays down their arms, there would be peace. And if Israel lays down their arms, ladies and gentlemen, there would be no Israel. You can candy coat that any way you want it. Israel is trying to defend itself and its right to survive. There are genocides going on in other places in the world that we have documented, whether it's the Uyghurs in China, whether it's in Bengali or Bangladesh, whether it's in Africa and the Christians that are being wiped out. But all anyone wants to focus on the left side or the other side, the pro-Hamas movement, is the Jews are the bad people because they're responsible for killing hostages. That is absolutely unadulterated, total crap. And the fact that someone needs to explain to me, Hamas kills the hostages and everyone is getting blamed except Hamas. And I don't understand that. And it should be just as unacceptable to all of you as it is to me. And that's the monologue. Ericka, it's a somber day. The Goldberg-Pollen family, Hirsch Goldberg's family, our condolences to them, goes out to them, but to all the families. Yeah. And I think, you know what makes me the angriest in all this? And, you should never do a podcast when you're angry because you never know what you're going to say. But I did a radio interview this morning, Charlotte radio, and I said to Brent Winterbrill, who was the host, I said, the thing that makes me angry is no one ever says the name of the hostages. I lived through the Iran hostage crisis. There were candles lit. The country was unified. But I say to people, there are no hostages. And they look at me like, what am I talking about? If there were hostages, they would be on the front page of every newspaper every day. And their names would be household names now because they would be real and we would need to bring them home. It is covered under no newspapers. No one knows their names, except after, of course, they've been killed by Hamas. So maybe there aren't any hostages. And of course, I'm being cynical and sarcastic. But why don't we know their names?
That's
Why is it not in the newspapers?
that's a great question, Robert. I actually made the comment when Hirsch Goldberg's parents spoke at the DNC. I literally I said, "Oh, we're now acknowledging that there's hostages?" Because I haven't heard about it. People are like, "Oh, ceasefire, ceasefire, all this stuff, blah, oh, two-state solution." While there are still hostages being held. Why aren't you talking about that?
Why
And
isn't anyone talking about that? The president just came out and said that the Netanyahu government is not doing enough to get peace. And I find it incredulous. This is an administration that has encouraged Iran, that has put pressure on Israel. And by the way, and I can't even pronounce the new British prime minister's name. They just embargoed. So England just embargoed weapons that shipments to Israel.
I
And
wanna
wait, here's their rationale. So they just embargoed weapons, quote unquote. The United Kingdom is suspending dozens of weapons exports to Israel with concerns that the arms could be used to break international law. So it's not like they're saying they were used to break international law. They're saying, well, it could be used to break international law. Therefore, we're not going to give them weapons to defend themselves.
wow. I mean, can we really
This
be
is the where
surprised
I'm not
by
surprised, but
y
I am so sad, and I am beyond disappointed. And I got to be honest, I'm disappointed with a lot of America. Why isn't America always stood up for what was right? Have we? And here's the other thing I'll say. In the words, to paraphrase Justice Potter Stewart, the former Supreme Court justice, I cannot define evil, but I know it when I see it. And the October 7th attacks were evil. The killing of these 6 hostages was evil. And by the way, did you see that Hamas afterwards paraded around their last statements? They filmed the last statements of the
yeah,
6 hostages before they killed them brutally.
yep.
So
And
if
ladies
we have
and gentlemen, autopsies have shown that they were killed just before they were discovered. So essentially, they are keeping
time of
these
death,
people
right?
time of death. They are keeping these people as human shields until it's no longer convenient. And Hirsch Goldberg was had his arm. He was at the Nova Festival, had his arm blown off, and then had it amputated and has been held hostage for 300 some odd days. So
Almost
this
a year.
man was kept alive in a cave for a year. I mean, what kind of conditions could he possibly be living in with an amputated arm by a terrorist group? Okay? They are torturing these people. I do not feel bad for Hamas nor any of their supporters. We might get kicked off of YouTube for this. We might wanna dump YouTube for today. I'm not even joking. I we might because,
Maybe.
uh, Benjamin, I'm gonna let you make that call. You guys, if you're watching on YouTube, we encourage you to go to the free speech platforms of Twitter or X and Rumble. That is where we can say whatever we want. So if you're watching on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and the feed gets cut, it's because we've decided that we can't risk another community guideline strike for telling the truth. And because honestly, even talking about, saying that, like saying we don't feel bad for harm coming on terrorists could be considered hate speech or something, and we could get booted. So,
So
so just letting
so
people know.
I got it. So, and you bring up something interesting. So we have now, in terms of evil, right? If we can't
Yeah.
call out evil for what it is, I think, in my opinion, we have lost our humanity, right? And
Yeah.
we have lost our rudder in all of this, because this whole moral equivalence of one man's terrorist being another man's freedom
Mm.
fighter is frankly crap, right? There is right and there is wrong. And if all human life is valuable, then why were the hostages? Is it okay for Hamas to have killed the hostages on the verge of being rescued, to deny Israel and the hostage families that joy, that love of being reunited with their loved ones after going through a year almost of pain and anguish,
Well, and
of fighting to try to bring their children home.
And think about this, Robert. Again, we heard from the Goldberg family at the DNC. It went viral. If the blame, you mentioned how they're trying to blame shift.
If we have that clip, I'd like Ben to bring it up while you're talking.
Yeah,
bring up that clip because we should share that with people because it's heart-wrenching. And now they're sitting Shiva because they lost their son, and he should never have been taken hostage, and he should never have been killed like this. It is unforgivable.
Yep. All right, hang on.
Hirsch, if you can hear us, we love you. Stay strong. Survive.
Bring them home.
And it's that simple, right? I do believe that the Lord forgot the 11th commandment, that no child should die before their parent. Unfortunately, we all know that's not the case, but the pain I cannot imagine. But it's the hypocrisy as well, right? You have Randy Weingarten, trying to blame them. You have the administration. By the way, here's the administration statement. The Biden administration statement is, we are heartbroken and outraged at the news that Hirsch Goldberg, Polland, and 5 other hostages were killed in the hands of Hamas. As President Biden and Secretary Blinken just said, we will not rest until all the hostages are home. We grieve with John and Rachel Goldberg, Polland, and their families, pray for them to find comfort, and commit to bringing all other hostages home safely. Wow. I have never heard more empty words, vacuous, empty words, Robert, than those from this administration.
If the Biden administration had not made Israel stall, if the international community had not gotten in the way, these hostages would have been rescued months ago, and we would not still be having these conversations. And so if the blame is to be shifted anywhere in addition to Hamas, not other than Hamas, but in addition to Hamas, it is the Biden administration. It is Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris, whichever one isn't racist, and Joe Biden. You can guarantee more of this blundering, kowtowing to terrorists if we have another Harris presidency.
I said, if you remember the withdrawal from Afghanistan, the botched withdrawal, we were in Afghanistan for 10 years. And then the withdrawal was just such a mess, and the equipment we left behind and things like that. It makes you really wonder, because there were so many Afghanis that trusted us, right?
Yeah.
We are at the point now where our enemies no longer fear us. Look what just happened in Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was yesterday or the day before. You had 2 U.S. Marines who were assaulted in broad daylight by 15 or 20 Turkish nationals. Right now, the Turkish government did ultimately step up. They're prosecuting the 15, but the fact that they feel liberated enough to attack Americans, emboldened enough to attack Americans anywhere, it really makes you understand that when your enemies no longer fear you and your allies no longer trust you.
Yeah.
So much for Joe Biden rebuilding, the United States' international reputation. If this is rebuilding the United States' international reputation, I don't want any international friends except for Israel and maybe a few other countries that have been staunch U.S. allies, because we expect them to be there for us, but we're not there for them.
I much preferred the supposed embarrassment we were suffering when Donald Trump was president, and
nobody liked us.
And
nobody
were getting,
us.
Good. I don't want them to like me. I don't need them to like me. I don't. I really don't. I need our allies to like us and our enemies to fear us. And I want people who are supposed to be our allies to actually act like our allies and not a bunch of giant.
Did you just beep yourself?
I did. I did. I have the soundboard right next to me. I can't
I
beep
love
you,
that.
unfortunately. It sucks.
Well, I can tell you it's coming. Ready? Now. No,
Yeah.
just kidding.
Okay. Oh.
I do have one piece of, not good news, but just against this backdrop. I don't know if you saw the story, but Israeli archaeologists right in the old city found a 2,700-year-old ring. It's really sort of a seal. It's a stone seal, but it's from the time of the first temple, time of King David.
Oh,
It not only, it's such an encouraging find. You should look this up. It's a great story. It really, but what it also does is it shows that the Jews have been in Israel for 2,700 years. They just found an artifact there, right? I mean, it's an incredible thing that it's just, and it doesn't get reported, unfortunately, right? I mean, because there's other headlines going on. But so the name on the ring is Yozer, one of King David's fighters. And it's just, they found it at the Western Wall in the city of David, which if you've been to Israel or Jerusalem, and as they said, look, it serves as yet another affirmation of a 1,000-year-old bond rooting the Jewish people to Jerusalem, not just by faith, ladies and gentlemen, but by fact, right? So it just.
Yeah, sorry guys, Jews were there first.
The Lord works in strange ways, and far be it for me to understand it. It's just the pain I feel, and the pain the hostage families must feel. I can't even imagine. It still galls me that we have people in this country who are blaming everyone but Hamas, and they're blaming now Israel. And someone needs to step forward and tell me what peace deal was put forward that Israel didn't accept, or what aspect of it. And this goes back to, let's remember, Yasser Arafat, had everything he wanted in a peace deal, turned it down and launched the first Intifada. Right. So, it's just, where's Steve Rosenberg when I need him? Steve, come back on the show.
Come back. And speaking of come back, make sure not to go anywhere while we take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, Israel Appreciation Day.
Why Israel Appreciation Day? Because no one is telling the Israel story about why Israel's existence is so important, not just as a Jewish state and not just as an ally of the United States, but for all the positive achievements Israel has contributed to the world in science, technology, medicine, human rights, religious freedoms, rule of law, democracy, and so on. We need to start winning the public relations information war and change the narrative, especially among our younger generations. We need to get the information out there and arm those people who understand the seminal importance of Israel to the world. And being the Jewish homeland doesn't begin to tell that story of why Israel is so important. It's something we all can come together on, and honestly, it's something we all must come together on. It is imperative the general public understands the nature of the very special relationship between Israel and the United States, and Israel's importance to the world. So please join us on September 18th as we celebrate Israel Appreciation Day. You'll also be able to find us live on all the streaming channels, including Roku, Apple TV, Dish Network, and others. Because never again is now. And folks, go to IsraelAppreciationDay.com and look at the speaker series we have. We have an incredible lineup, and I'm happy to announce that we just got confirmation that Patricia Heaton, and if everyone loves Raymond, America's mother, is going to be one of the keynote speakers on Israel Appreciation Day. This is a virtual event. You can zoom in. You can find us on Roku and other channels. It's a ticketed event. It's a two-way interactive event. You can ask questions. It's going to be an incredible event. And the speaker lineup, IsraelAppreciationDay.com. Go check it out. And we're also working with One Israel Fund, which is a charity over in Israel, to get help over there as well. So go to IsraelAppreciationDay.com. It's September 18th, 6:30 p.m. East Coast time. You can see it from anywhere. And you will have to see my mug a little bit since I am one of the hosts of the show.
Excellent. Oh, look at the program.
There's the program.
Oh,
We don't quite have Patricia Heaton up there yet, but got a lot of cool people that are
excellent.
on the show. And John Ondrasik, Five for Fighting, is going to be performing as well as some other
Fantastic.
musical acts. So it's going to be educational. It's going to be entertaining. IsraelAppreciationDay.com, not to be missed.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So
Fantastic.
let's jump from the Hamas war, as I call
Yeah.
it, to the culture war.
Oh.
Ooh. So I
Ooh.
don't even know where to begin, but I want to start with my old friend, Ryan Walters. Do you remember that name?
Why is that familiar?
Because we've talked about him a bunch.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar, but I can't place it.
So Ryan Walters is the superintendent of schools in Oklahoma.
Oh, that's right.
So I forget the name of the school, but some kid was driving to school and had been for a while and had a U.S. flag on, a flag on his antenna on his pickup truck. And the school told him that he couldn't do it, has to take it down because, and again, I'm not even saying the school was not patriotic, but it's okay to fly all sorts of other flags in other places, but you can't fly it there. So basically, let's get this gentleman's name. So
Yeah.
Edmond North High School senior Caleb Horst, right,
Oh.
was told
Oh.
that he can't fly the flag. So in comes Ryan Walters.
Because it's racist, because you're a bigot. If you fly the American flag, you're a bigot.
Well, they didn't say that.
Oh,
right.
okay.
What they're saying is that it's dangerous and let's see, what is it? It is the practice of Edmond Public Schools to not permit students to fly or bring flags of any kind on school campuses.
Oh.
This practice has been in place for several years and explained to our students. By the way, wokeism has been in place for several years too, ladies and gentlemen.
Clearly.
This is designed to prevent disruption and distraction during the school day. It is also done in an effort to provide a safe school environment, as flying flags on vehicles creates safety issues in the parking lot. Do you believe him?
No.
I don't believe him.
Because I guarantee you, if that kid drove through there with a big rainbow flag or a big freaking the ugly, terrible transgender flag, it would be fine. Which, by the way, I'm sorry. Are they competing for ugliest flag? Are they competing for ugliest thing to look at? Just curious. Just curious.
You don't think I'm taking the bait on that, do you?
Anyway, so what did our superintendent do about this case?
Well, he ordered the school to promote patriotism, and then he's going to change the school regs. Quote, we're not going to tolerate this anti-Americanism. He's on Fox, apparently, and he's going to change the rules, right? He's enacting new policies to allow students to show their patriotism after, they had to remove the flag. So, and then who was it? I think Coors it was just announced that Harley Davidson and Coors are now eliminating their DEI departments or their DEI, programs, if you will. So the pendulum is starting to swing the other way.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, look, at the end of the day, you and I both know the reason they're changing their policies. If it was making them a lot of money, they'd still do it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a loser.
Yeah, no,
They're
Harley
losing money.
Davidson came out. It all came out recently, and so a boycott movement started, just like it did for Bud Light. So
Right.
this is the American people are starting to they're
Vote
fed
with
up
their
enough.
pocketbook.
That's right. That's right. And that's what we've been saying this whole time. Look, I don't want to have a parallel economy. Okay. I don't want to have to go search out specific different pieces of software or banks or farmers or vendors or whatever. I really just would like to get whatever is convenient and good. But y'all are making it too hard to do that. I cannot give you my money when you then turn around and use it to hate me. Can't do it. Can't do it.
But imagine the visual, right? Now, I'm not a biker, but, I live in New Hampshire. There's plenty of bikers around and, bikers dress like bikers, which God bless them. Can you imagine Harley Davidson trying to force down the throat of bikers this DEI crap?
Yeah, no.
And not expect a reaction.
No, they got totally heckled at Sturgis this year. that people were not visiting their tent. They got totally heckled. They were booed. It was a whole thing. Harley got punished quickly and
Good,
severely. And that is
good. It should.
exactly what should happen.
And I remember growing up in New Jersey. Now, I had a small, bike or motorcycle when I was a kid. And it was a dirt bike, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't a Harley because, frankly, I couldn't afford a Harley, and that kind of thing. Or my dad couldn't afford a Harley, but there, how you drive around and there's these dealerships. You have like 12-car dealerships. Well, same thing, in Hunterdon County in New Jersey, you had 3 or 4 different, bike shops, and I would always drive by the Harley, going, one day I want one of those. Now I never got one, but it was the coolest shop. It was, to own a Harley, it's just so cool, right? So
Yeah.
for Harley not to understand its customer base, and for Harley Davidson to buy in to this woke crap, they got what they deserved.
Yep. That's get woke, go broke, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen. Another
Right.
case of it. We love to see it. We love to
All
see
right.
it.
So segueing under sort of another culture war item, you see what's going on in Denver, Colorado?
Oh, are we talking about the
Mm.
takeover of the apartment complexes?
Well, okay. That's what they're saying in the news, right? I have friends who it's not just taking over apartment complexes. Yes, they are doing that. These are the Venezuelan gangs, and I am going to butcher
Yeah.
this pronunciation. So somebody needs to help me, like maybe Lord Benjamin here. Let's see if I can do this.
I
without
keep
screwing it up.
I keep calling them agua fresca because that's all I can remember.
Well,
But
it's Trend. Okay, my English is
Trende
mostly good.
Aragua.
Trende Aragua gang, or
Yeah,
Trende. Thank you.
Trende
I
Aragua.
would have butchered that, but
Yeah.
so they are taking over a town. Now the thing is, right? So Denver becomes a sanctuary city, invites all these illegal immigrants to come in. You get this flood of violent criminals that come in, and then they spill over into a community of Aurora that doesn't have a sanctuary city policy.
Right.
But they're bearing the brunt for this culture war policy, or this
Yep.
DEI policy, because all immigration is good, and because America has to welcome all its immigrants with open arms, which
Love it.
frankly
Love
is
'em. All of
really
'em.
not the right interpretation. Anyone can come here, but you have to come here legally, right?
Yes.
But again, you're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. What did you think they were doing? They're
What did
fundamentally
you
transforming
think?
it by flooding it with illegal immigrants.
Well, and here's what's so funny about it is they are these gangs are going to figure out how to take advantage of the system. So Aurora, for those of you who don't know, it's a suburb of Denver, okay? And it
That's right.
happens to be a low income, more ghetto, as they say, uh part of Denver, or a suburb of Denver. As a matter of fact, when my father and his wife, my stepmother, moved there, the first night they were there, her car got stolen. And they found
Really?
it, and they found it like a month
When
later or
wait,
something like that
when
in the
was
park.
this?
It was many years ago. This was not recently. So this was back in the 90s, I think. So if Aurora has always been kind of a bad part of town, and then you invite tens of, what was it, 40,000, I think they said 40,000, that they know about, asylum fraudsters come to Denver, and they're going to find the places where they could take advantage. So they went to low income areas, low income housing, where there isn't the police presence, where they've been defunded, where they can, where the people cannot defend themselves because they're in state housing. I mean, these are the scum of the earth, ladies and gentlemen. Scum of the earth.
And I think the thing that concerns me is, so Jared Polis, who is the governor of Colorado,
Mm.
basically said nothing to see there.
No,
It's not
we
real.
can't do anything. Can't do anything. Can't
Well,
do anything.
wait,
Powerless to do
did he
anything.
did he say that we can't do anything, or that the problem doesn't exist? I read that he said the problem doesn't exist.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe it's the police and the other people in the Denver area. So the local jurisdiction is basically saying they can't do anything about it. That because I'm assuming it's squatter laws. Honestly, I haven't gotten a good excuse for why they can't just go in and murk these people or get rid of them. Sorry, excuse me. Just
Did you just say murk these people?
don't repeat it, Robert. Don't.
I was going to ask what that means.
I will just play it along because
La la la
that's
la
another
la.
one of those things we might get kicked off YouTube for. So point is, I don't know why you can't just get rid of these people.
Wait. Lord Benjamin, because look, Ben Redic, you are the man, right? He's our producer.
Yeah.
And he has all these. So he said the Colorado City Council member fires back after governor's office dismisses armed gang takeover as imagination. There you go. Yeah. So tell the people who've been killed and tell the people who've been forced out of their apartments that it's a figment of their imagination. So,
I
but here's
love
the
it. I cannot. They just lie. These people just lie.
But it's the same story. Ericka, we opened the show with the monologue that weakness breeds, right? What does weakness breed? Aggression. Right? If you do not stand up to the bully, you get more of the bully, or in this case, more of the bullies, right? So it's no different than if you're dealing with Iran than if you're dealing with, you want to pronounce it again? Trenderagua. Those guys, right? So the Venezuelan, I don't know if they're the mob on the level of the Godfather, right? But just a gang, right?
They're bad.
Who takes over?
They're very bad.
They're bad and they're violent. So let's see. By the way, take the guns out of citizens' hands who want to defend themselves.
Yes.
Because these guys are going to get the guns anyway. And but it's a figment of our imagination. So that's my second culture war item today.
Why do you hate being victimized, you bigot?
I don't hate being victimized. I just won't be.
Oh Lord, that's what we need.
I just won't be.
You know what my mom always says, my sweet mother. She's like, we need to send the Texas Rangers up to Vermont to show them how to, to whip them into shape. And I'm like, you know what, Mom, you're right. I think you're right. And so maybe we need to do that to Colorado too.
Look, I think. Look, there are 50 states, and I think each state needs to get their act together.
Yes,
I don't think anyone. If the governor is not willing to call it the National Guard, or if the governor is not willing to come up with a solution that takes back Aurora, then shame on the citizens of the state of Colorado for electing a governor who thinks that a gang takeover of a suburb of Denver is a figment of your imagination.
What a tool. Like, what an absolute tool.
So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, elections have consequences. So, people of Colorado, I have friends in Colorado, but, you want a different outcome? It reminds me of, did you ever see the movie Working Girl, where, a young Alec Baldwin proposes to Melanie Griffin in the bar, and she says, maybe, and he goes, maybe. What kind of answer is that? She said, you want a different answer? Ask a different girl, right? Same thing. You want a different answer in Colorado? Vote a different person into office, which we both know they're not going to do. But
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in Colorado, if you're watching from Colorado, comment below. Does your governor suck? Are you going to vote for a new governor? When are your elections? Ladies, everybody watching, comment below. What states? Comment your state and whether or not your governor sucks. I'm just curious if you guys feel the same way as we do.
But why does this stuff only happen in blue states?
It's Democrat policies. I
mean, show me a red state where some gang is taking over a city.
The only red state where there's that happening is because it's in a blue city. So you have like a lot of times people will comment about like
show me a
murder
blue city.
Rate.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. All of these cities that have the highest murder rate, have the highest violent crime rate, they're all blue cities. They're all led by Democrats. They're all soft on crime DAs, all, sanctuary cities and things like that. I've never understood how these kinds of things can continue on for so long, because the quality of life just degrades so much. And in places like Vermont, like we talked about earlier, there's something like another 30% property tax increase. And I'm like, bro, nobody's got more money for you.
Well,
And they're
but it
still not
raises
funding pensions.
but it raises another point, and Lord Benjamin is right. So we're paying. If I'm in Colorado, I'm paying this money in taxes for police protection for police who aren't going to protect me because the
That's right.
problem, according to the governor, is imaginary,
That's right.
right? And
That's right.
and yet it's my money. I mean, no one really look. The politicians do not think it's our money. That's
That's true.
problem number one. They
Yeah, they
think
think
it's
it's
sort of
theirs.
it's like noblesse oblige, right? It's like it's their God-given right to spend our money.
Yeah.
But I'm spending money on taxes in part for police protection, and yet I'm not getting protected because now they're redefining it, right? The problem doesn't exist; it's imaginary. All right, let's move on. Let's keep this thing moving.
All right.
Excuse me. And then there's Title IX in Wisconsin. Do you see that one? We're still under
No.
culture wars, folks.
Oh.
We're going to talk about Kamala later.
Or Kamala, whichever one is
Yeah.
racist.
Or Kami. I like Kami better. I just think it's a much better short for her. But so again, they're fighting. And by the way, in Oshkosh B'gosh, right? In Oshkosh, Wisconsin, there is such a place. They are fighting over Title IX because Title IX was initially a federal law that was supposed to protect women in sports, right? Women's sports and give them additional funding to compete with the boys, not to have boys compete in girls' sports, but to, level the playing field on the money side.
To have girls' sports, actually.
And have availability of girls' sports and have them have enough resources and assets so that women could pursue their passion in sports and have the funding to do it, right? That's Title IX, ladies and gentlemen. Not in Wisconsin, it isn't anymore. They changed it and they're arguing over it. And again, they're talking about letting, men into women's bathrooms. So there's a big fight going on there. And one of the Moms for Liberty basically said the following, that I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you guys are even considering letting bathrooms and locker rooms be co-ed. I don't care how they identify. Boys are boys and girls are girls, and they keep going. But here's the interesting part in all of this. Someone on the other side said the following, and I want your opinion on this. Because, and I guess her name or his name or its name, I mean, I don't know the pronoun here, but Cora Novi, a self-proclaimed director of Oshkosh Pride. And by the way, I don't care if you're gay, I don't care if you're straight. That's not my issue, right? This is a different issue here.
Yeah.
Right. She said, what is this fight really about? You don't get to impose your beliefs on anybody else. And that's actually what religious liberty is. So what do you make of the statement of someone who's fighting for this to say, you don't get to impose your beliefs on someone else, but it's okay for them to impose their beliefs on us?
Well,
I mean, that's the logic. What do you say?
I'm choked
That's what
up.
you said? You're choked up? Okay, well, I can fill in. So, all right, let me know when you're not choked up. I'm not, and by the way, I'm not choking. I'm not choking her. For those on the radio, I'm not choking her. You're choked up?
Yes, Benjamin. It is
He's
too
not
hard
choking you either.
He's not choking
you either.
No, he said it's too hard to swallow. It's true.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you think?
So let me understand this. So having co-ed bathrooms somehow equates to religious liberty? I don't what? I can't.
Right.
Like,
so
it doesn't this is the other thing, the thing that you said earlier, which was like a sex, and then it turned into racism.
Right.
And I was like, what they done?
But people put look, I think it was Albert Finney in Network, right? I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore, right? I mean, it's the same. I mean, the old Title IX was like 2-3 paragraphs long. It wasn't really long. It was like, we just want funding for women's sports so women could pursue more sports because it's, good for them. Meaning the people, the women that want to compete athletically, give them the assets and the resources to do it. It ain't rocket science. Now the new Title IX. Wait, well, it does feel a bit like an Alice in Wonderland moment, right? I expect the white rabbit with the big watch to pop out of the hole in the ground and say, I'm late for a very important date. Oh me, oh my, I'm late. But it's not like Title IX, not like 1,500 pages. And again, Harley Davidson, Coors, all this crap. They are shoving this down our throats by redefining things like Title IX. And people are now, thank God, starting to fight back against it. But you got to go. I mean, you're trying to close the barn door, ladies and gentlemen, after the animals are gone.
And it is wild. And I do know, I think it was Australia actually had a court case where they had to define woman, and they did a Kamala Harris hex by not somehow defining woman. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, uh, the what is so insane to me is what's funny is feminism has come so full circle that we have now granted men the right and the ability to abuse and take advantage of us, to steamroll us and take our things. Like that is I I I mean that is literally that is what we're talking about. Feminism has gone so far off the rails that now we actually have this Cora person arguing that it is okay for men to take women's stuff and be in their space. And
Right. Hey, works for me. Just kidding. Yeah.
hey.
I think it's time. Where can they find us? No, we're not leaving, folks, but we want
Oh,
your
yes.
comments. Where can they find us?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on every social media platform there is. You can find us on
Of the
all
people.
of the people. Look for of the people. You can message Robert at coalition for the number 4 America.com if you have any comments, questions.
Like that.
And definitely make sure. Oh, and we're on all the podcasting platforms. So wherever you are, you guys make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe or the audio, and comment. You guys comment, tell us what you think, answer some questions. That is the most important thing that helps the algorithm right now. So liking, sharing, all the things are helpful. Comments, your engagement is key, ladies and gentlemen. So check us out and check out Israel Appreciation Day as well. We've got Israel Appreciation Day social media set up now as well. And let's
check. I'm telling you, this is a great lineup of speakers, and it's not going to be the same boring speakers that are going to put you all to sleep. This is going to be educational, fun, informative, but focusing on all the reasons why Israel is important, not just to Israel, but to us, and all the good that Israel does that nobody talks about, because all they think, well, Israel is a occupier and they're white and which, by the way, folks, all Israelis aren't white. And by the way, all Israelis aren't Jewish either. Go figure that out for size. So anyways, take it to the break. I'm going to get in trouble.
I love it. I love it. Oh, and hold on, you guys. Marco Rubio is going to be there speaking. Oh, that's going to be my favorite. Okay, hang on. Let's hear from our sponsor.
Why Israel Appreciation Day? Because no one is telling the Israel story about why Israel's existence is so important, not just as a Jewish state, and not just as an ally of the United States, but for all the positive achievements Israel has contributed to the world in science, technology, medicine, human rights, religious freedoms, rule of law, democracy, and so on. We need to start winning the public relations information war and change the narrative, especially among our younger generations. We need to get the information out there and arm those people who understand the seminal importance of Israel to the world. And being the Jewish homeland doesn't begin to tell that story of why Israel is so important. It's something we all can come together on, and honestly, it's something we all must come together on. It is imperative the general public understands the nature of the very special relationship between Israel and the United States and Israel's importance to the world. So please join us on September 18th as we celebrate Israel Appreciation Day. You'll also be able to find us live on all the streaming channels, including Roku, Apple TV, Dish Network, and others. Because never again is now.
Okay.
Never again is now. So
all right, Robert.
Let's segue. All right, go ahead. You go first. Ladies first.
Wait. Okay. I got the Kamala Harris video.
But wait.
Before we tee it,
we are, but before we tee it up, people need to understand.
Yeah.
When's the election?
November 5th is election day.
Okay. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
It's not. Voting today, Voting starts on September 6th. Right?
That is
And you can look at them.
dumb.
So voting start, ladies and gentlemen. So everyone's saying, oh, November. So November 5th is a myth because in 2020, 70% of the people had voted before election day. So this whole crap about November 5th, get out of here. Oh, I don't have to. So that's the other thing, because I know we're going to go into this whole sort of, Kamala, whatever the right name is here. Sue me, ladies and gentlemen, I got the wrong name. But I got them both. I still think it's Kamala Harris, but that's okay. September 6th voting starts in North Carolina. They're mailing out ballots. 71% voted before election day in one form or another, whether it was early voting or mail-in voting. So don't think election season is here now, which is why I don't know if you guys saw the interview on CNN, but all they're trying to do, in a boxer's term, Muhammad Ali used to do something called rope-a-dope, right? He would go like this, he'd put his arms up and he'd hang back and he'd let people punch him, until they got tired, and then he'd, they knock him out. That's what they're trying to do. I mean, now Kamala Harris is wearing earpods or earbuds when she's walking from the White House to the Air Force Two, so she doesn't have to hear the reporters, or even do what Tim Walz does, is just ignore the reporters when they asked about the hostages, only to put out a statement later that says, oh, we feel bad for the hostages being killed, but I didn't hear the question. That's why I walked away. What a lying POS.
Wow.
Okay. So all right. So now let's talk about this whole CNN interview. Now that everybody knows that it's elections, it's not election day, it's election season. And election season starts September 5th. Oh, by the way, Ericka.
Yeah.
So, a gentleman's bet is like when two guys bet like $1.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's a bet between a man and a woman? Is it still a gentleman's bet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you a gentleman?
Yeah. I'm a gentle lady.
Did you get your sex change and didn't tell me or your husband about it?
I did. I have a giant penis now.
Okay. I'm glad this is at the end of the show. I'm not even touching that literally or figuratively. But let's have a bet here. Let's bet that there are going to be 3 or 4 states that do not get the election results the night of.
Oh, guaranteed.
You're not taking my bet?
Oh, I know. I mean, I'll up you. I'll up you. I see your bet and I up you 9 states.
Right. Because if 70% of the people voted ahead of time, how could they not count the third? I mean, it's not like they got all that work to do to begin with. 70% of the people vote ahead of time.
And every state has a different rule, whether they start counting the day of, whether they start counting ahead of time, whether they wait until all the in-person ballots are voted. So every state has some different freaking rule for the way they count.
Now, did you hear about Pennsylvania? So Pennsylvania their court just ruled that mail-in ballots are unconstitutional. Now, I don't know that that's going to hold up between now and election day. I don't even know how this is going to go down. But you've got Pennsylvania, who on the one hand already warned people that we're not going to have results on election day. Yet, let's see. So September 6th, there's 30 days. That's 24 days, and then there's 30 days in October, right? So now we're at 54 days plus another 5. So you've got 59 days to count ballots, and you can't get it all done on November 5th. What am I missing?
No. That's part of the problem with this whole mail-in ballot thing is the system to then keep these things, right? So what? Oh God, what's the word? Custody, the custodial, whatever. Like, how do you keep track of these? How? Just the logistical nightmare that is created by this, on top of all of the other opportunities for fraud, it's just mind-boggling. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. So now let's talk about it. The CNN interview. I mean, first of all, the fact that she wouldn't do an interview by herself, you just sit there. So you have not, and by the way, it was taped. So I want to see, what didn't make it into the interview, right? So it wasn't like it was even live.
Yeah.
And
they
then
did an hour.
She still hasn't even done a press conference.
They
You want to talk about rope-a-dope?
They taped an hour of footage and only prepared 20 minutes, or only played about 20 minutes of it. Ben, can you get me a still of the wide shot of the interview? So we have a video of Kamala Harris's voodoo word salads. But just as a person who does videography for a living, right? We do this. Just the image of how they set the frame up. They put Kamala Harris in the middle, and she's very short, so she's much smaller than everyone else. And then Tim Waltz is in the foreground, much bigger. And anyone who's ever had to frame anything that knows, particularly if you have someone smaller, you put them in the foreground. You don't put, oh my God, everything about this video, everything about it, aside from her sucking, was terrible. CNN should be fired.
Yeah, I wish. I don't think you would. Let's see the
Here's
picture.
thing.
Come on, picture.
Here's the
Picture's
thing.
worth 1,000 words.
Here's the thing. I don't know. Did he get it? I don't think he's gotten me the picture yet. But here, let's play the voodoo. Let's play little Kamala Harris voodoo salad, voodoo hexing.
Can't hear it. I can see the picture.
Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh. Come on.
Wait, why can't
Let's try it again.
Why can't you hear it? Oh, it's
because
music.
because that's why I can't hear it, because she's hexing you. It's a hex.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you. To see what can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. To see what can be, unburdened by what has been. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time. Okay, so do the salt and pepper all over, just lather that baby up, right? And then get a nice big bottle of cheap white wine to baste with butter.
White wine is racist.
Always, Wakanda forever.
Okay, first of all, the fact that she said white wine means she's racist, right? I mean, why not red wine? She said white wine. Okay. But do you know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like, do you know, if I said the name, I mean, I'm going to age myself, right? Or date myself because no one else will. There was do you know what MASH was in the 70s?
Yeah.
Okay. There was in the early seasons, there was Frank Burns who was dating Hot Lips and all that stuff, right? Yeah. There's one line in one movie where he looks up and he goes, well, it's nice to be nice to the nice. So when I listen to Kamala Harris, the passage of time is the passage of time, and it's when time passes and it's no longer in front of you, it's behind you because it's significant. I'm like, it almost makes me want Joe Biden back.
Yeah. I mean, it almost would be more coherent.
Coherent.
I can't even speak. Okay, hold on. Wait,
coherent.
This out. See, look at this.
Coherent.
See, look at this. Look at this. Look at her. Look at how tiny she looks. This framing is freaking awful. Whoever
let's see the big picture. No, let's put the big picture up. Come on, raise that picture.
I tried to make it big. I tried to make it big, and
I can't
it wouldn't let me. Oops.
Well, you know what it is? They wanted her to sit behind a desk like she was looking like she was sitting behind the Oval Office desk.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know what they were doing.
And she was presidential, right? But look,
oh, there we go. There we go.
To the people of Colorado who worry about their governor, the people of the country, look, who the president is matters. Although the truth is, you think she's like, I mean, I don't think Joe Biden made any decisions. I don't think she is either. I think it's Obama. I think it's Clinton. I think it's, a couple other key people in there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is governance by oligarchy.
Yeah, literally. This is what this is what we heard the best quote. I got to collect myself. Hold on. Benjamin and I had the best time this weekend. We were in Fredericksburg, Texas. Okay. And we went into this store that was like, people had like, "Oh, I'm a witch" t-shirt on, and there's like sage and crystals and all this kind of stuff. And something gets said about how they made Star Trek suck, essentially. And she goes, "Oh yeah, they made it woke." And I was like, "Oh, she might be one of our people." But I was so confused because she's one of these like woo-woo people. And I assumed that all the woo-woo people were lefties, right?
Do
So
you
we're
do you do you expect the old white guy who's your partner or your co-host to know
yeah.
what woo woo
Oh
means?
yeah, you know what woo-woo is. Woo-woo. The people and they're like, ooh, like
Mm.
chakras and like,
The woo woo people.
crystal
Okay, I've
woo-woo.
oh, you mean the new age people.
New age. There you go. Another an acronym. There you go.
Woo woo.
so
Okay.
so we think that they're just these woo-woo people, right? And she gives me the best quote that I've ever heard. I do not know her name, but the best quote I've ever heard. She said, they're protecting democracy. They're protecting it so much. That's why they're using so little of it. They're trying to preserve democracy. So they're not using it in this election. That's why they couldn't elect their candidate. I was like, that is brilliant. It is, I mean, we are literally watching these people say that Donald Trump and Trump supporters are going to steal democracy and we're fascists and we're whatever. And y'all literally just installed your candidate. What am I missing?
Well, I think you're missing the fact that the Democrats do not have to follow rules. They only care about results. They
Mm.
don't care about process.
Mm.
Right? There's the picture.
Yeah.
There's
Look
the
at
picture.
That's awful. That's awful. Who did this? Why? Look at how tiny she is. He's
Well,
so much bigger.
but
They
who
would
cares
be
about
the
size?
same
Look,
height if they switched seats.
look, it only shows you that she's a man of the people. What can I tell you?
No, it makes her look meek and small, and also, just for the record, the ticket looks the same. Notice that? She's now the VP, she's now the presidential candidate, but her running mate is still just an old white guy.
Yeah, well,
What is the point of him?
Coach,
Is he like
Coach.
a beard? Is this the equivalent of a beard in
No,
politics?
look, I think it was an appeasement to the progressive left to put a candidate on there that they find palatable, who is anti-Israel, pro-China, and is, socialist, communist, or whatever you want to call him. But it was either the moderate Jewish governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, or as we talked about with Steve
No
Rosenberg,
Jews.
no Jews, no news, right? And no Jews allowed. Thank you. But they picked him because they needed to carry Minnesota. They picked him because they don't want to alienate the pro-Hamas vote that is entrenched in certain Democratic bastions or Democrat bastions across the country. Yeah, I think anyone who's got half a brain sees that. It's not really rocket science here.
Yeah.
Look, America's got a choice to make. I mean, if there was a stark choice between Barack Obama and John McCain, or Barack Obama and Mitt Romney, and I would argue they were both stark choices. This is a much starker choice as for direction of America, and America's got to make up its mind as to what it wants to be.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a great question. Comment below. What do you want America to be? What does make America great again mean to you? Does it mean, being
what
on
does
the
it not
gold
mean to you?
standard?
Or does it? What does it not mean to you?
Does it mean end the Fed? Here, let me think of a few more things that I can get myself in trouble with. Hashtag, I don't know. I can't think of anything, but, Ben says,
Ben wants to go into the fact that she's not really black. I don't even want to go there on the show because we don't have enough time. But next time we're after hours, I'm going to ask you black questions again, and so we can go from there.
Oh, yes. What is it like to have your culture appropriated, Benjamin? Kamala Harris, the cultural appropriator. Kamala the commie, Kamala the cultural appropriator.
All right. I think we're running over there. Before you get in trouble, roll them, Smokey.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been with us today talking about Israel Appreciation Day and all the other nonsense going on. If you have watched us for this long, we thank you very much. If you appreciated the content, make sure to like it, give a comment. If you didn't like it, we thank you for watching this long, and we'll see you next week.